Okay, so I'm just going to go over a little bit about the final project proposal guidelines with you. So you remember, if you look at the syllabus, so you have your final project, so you have two options for it. Okay, so option one is to develop a lesson plan with a rationale. So for those of you who are looking to use this course in an applicable way, I really encourage you to use this option. So you'll have to develop a lesson plan for a context that you have a personal or professional interest in, and your goal will be to create the lesson so that it applies the theories that we have discussed in the class, so as to promote student motivation. Okay, so you're going to take this and be very theory-oriented kind of towards it. So the lesson plan will be accompanied by relevant materials. So if you have any materials that, so any activities or not, you need to actually develop those along with the lesson plan. And then you need to have a 6 to 7 page rationale. Okay, so the rationale is going to be explaining why you have so what types of how the tasks actually fit with theory. So what theoretical support do you have for the types of tasks that you're using? Okay, and how is this supposed to theoretically influence or promote motivation in the classroom? Okay. Yeah, so look at the purpose of the materials and methods, especially taking care to make connections between your activities and motivation theory. Okay, so the lesson materials and rationale should total 2,000 to 2,500 words. Okay. The second option is for you to write a review paper. Okay, so you select your own topic. Yeah, and you're encouraged to select a very specific and manageable one. So you can kind of start off with your proposal with an idea, and then we can, if it's too broad or too narrow, I can help you to make it good, make it good for the paper, for the context of the paper, and then yeah. So your final written report must include a statement of problems, objectives, and research questions, an extensive review of the literature on your topic, and your own reflections and suggestions for future research and practice. Okay. So part of this, I would actually also encourage you to focus on how this is applicable to the classroom. Okay, so if you are just looking at theory, it's not really going to be as useful, especially if you plan to go into teaching. I want you to try to apply it. Okay, so the final paper will be 10 to 12 pages in length, so it should be probably no longer than 2,500 words, just to make it fair with option one. Okay, so but 10 to 12 pages. Okay. So for your project proposal guidelines, you have to do the following. Okay, so the purpose of the assignment is to make you start thinking about what you will be doing for your final project. For the final project, you have the choice between developing a lesson plan and rationale, so blah, 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 like I said. So for this assignment, you'll write a short, informal proposal for your final project. So for this proposal, you should do the following. So for option one, tell me what the population is you want to target, what types of activities you think you might develop, okay, and the motivational theories you think you might want to try to incorporate into your lesson. Okay, so we've basically at this point covered all the major motivational theories. Okay, so you should be able to go back through the readings and through the lectures and figure out, so what do you think will be most applicable or most doable for you? Okay. For activities, provide a sample of at least one of them you think you might include in your lesson. So it doesn't have to be a fully developed activity, but I would like you to try and describe what it is. So you don't have to have all the materials, but if you're thinking of, but for an activity, I would like you to think ahead of time a little bit, so you can consider what it might look like, okay, and describe it to me. So this does not mean that you will not be able to change later on. So for instance, you can later on, if you felt the need to, you could go back and change the population that you're targeting, and whatnot. But for right now, I want to know exactly what you're trying to consider. Okay, and then for option two, I want you to provide me with a description of the topic that you'd like to discuss in your literature review. Yeah, so don't be too broad or too narrow. And it should be doable in no more than 12 pages. And then provide me with 5 preliminary references that you think you might use for your paper, along with a brief 2 to 3 sentence description of the source and how it would be used to write about your topic. Okay, so take some time if you're going to do this and look through the library's website, look through Google Scholar, and try to find some good references. So this will save you time in the end. If you do option 2, so a note, you will need at least 12 references for this option. Okay, so spending time to find 5 suitable references now will help you to streamline your work at the end. So make sure that you do spend time doing that if you're going to do this. Okay, so the proposal is informal, so it doesn't have to follow any specific formatting requirements or anything. It can just be like double spaced. Just have your name in the corner and in the name, the file name, and then yeah, so it should be 1 to 2 pages double spaced. Okay, so if you're doing option 2, is going to be probably closer to 2 pages just because of the references that you're going to provide. Probably also with the first option too. So it'll probably be around 2 pages double spaced. Okay, so this is going to be due on March 1st at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so on the course website. So there will be a Dropbox open for you to submit it on there at that time. Okay, so if you have any questions about this, what I'll do is I'll open a forum on the course website. So it'll just be called Questions About Project Proposal Guidelines and Assignment. And then I'll just check that once a day and go back and answer questions that you might have about it. Okay. So that's all. If you have any questions, so just look at the document. I'll be posting it with this video, and then just look it over and then decide what you want to do, and then yeah, let me know if you have any questions.